Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation Stick. So this only came out a couple of days ago, and today I'm actually going to be reviewing and swatching on my face two of them for you. And at the same time, I'm also going to be doing a minor comparison to the original Faux Filter liquid foundation. Now, just an FYI, I have a cold, which is why I sound like this. Forgive me if I sound different today. But the reason I bought two shades is because Huda has actually changed the shade range, especially in particular to the medium tone section. Now, altogether there are 39 shades. She has actually included a couple of new shades within the range. Unfortunately, a lot of the shades do not match the original Faux Filter liquid foundation, because Huda has actually gone and very graciously listened to her consumers in terms of their problems with the original shades and how they were described, and the fact that maybe some were too warm or too cool. So she's gone and kind of fiddled around with them to make it a little bit easier. I'm not gonna lie, I would have personally just preferred adding new shades rather than fiddling around with the original shades, and that's the reason why I ended up buying two. Now this retails at £32. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think that's the same price as the original foundation. And as of today, the 25th of October, as I'm filming this, hopefully I'll get it up same day, because I know how keen you guys are to see this review. On Boots, I think they actually got 15% off, so you can get it cheaper if you want to. So the two shades that I bought were in a Baklava and Tres Leches. So Baklava is 340G and Tres Leches is 320G. In the original foundation, you guys, though, I have the shades Dulce de Leche 350G and Baklava in 340G. When I did a review, Dulce de Leche actually came up light on my skin tone. When I went back again to the shops and did a swatch again, Baklava ended up being the perfect match for my skin. Lo and behold, that was 3 years ago. That was before sunscreen. That was before chemical exfoliants and acids on my skin. Funnily enough, neither of these match my skin tone anymore. And that is the reason why I went in with Tres Leches in 320G under the assumption that this is a couple of shades lighter and it would be fine. I was a little bit wrong. And then I bought Baklava as well, because I knew that they had changed this in case it was similar or it would work. What I'm also going to do for you guys today is I'm going to swatch all four of these on my skin tone, just so that you can see how they work. Bear in mind that the original foundations oxidize, whereas these do not oxidize at all. So these come in a nice, very simple and sleek plastic packaging with a clear plastic lid, which you remove, and then all you have to do is twist it round, and then it's got like a magnetic feel so that it doesn't kind of get stuck. And then when you twist it back round, it kind of pops back into place. It makes it very nice and easy to use. I do feel the need to mention, however, this is my Baklava shade. Why is there a hole in it, Huda? Why is there a hole in it like an air bubble? Not good. Okay, so straight off of Huda's website, from her own words, or her marketing team's words even, let me just read to you what the claims are for this new foundation. So it says that it is a flawless filtered finish. The luxuriously creamy stick formula melts into the skin for a natural filtered finish that lasts up to 10 hours. 10 hours ain't long, you guys. Whether you prefer full coverage or barely any at all, this versatile formula will let you be the master of your complexion. Swipe it on and build it up. The stick formula is ideal if you're on the go or in a hurry, and thanks to its long wearing, waterproof, humidity and sweat resistant formula, you can set it and forget it for the rest of the day. So it says that its formula is a stick in brackets cream, coverage is light to buildable, and the finish is natural. It's fragrance free, vegan, non-comedogenic so that it doesn't clog your pores, waterproof, 10-hour wear. Now I do have to say 10-hour wear is not very long. If you really think about it, so many foundations that are on the market are always like 12 hours, 24 hours, all day wear, long wearing, that sort of thing. But this one isn't. And I am confused because it does say thanks to its long wearing blah 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 formula, but yet 10 hours is not really long wearing in my opinion. Now it says that it has got a luxuriously creamy stick formula. I would definitely say, for those of you that are thinking like how does it compare to the Hourglass stick foundation, the Hourglass one is a lot more thick and creamy, and obviously that's full coverage, whereas this is more almost, I feel like, cream to powder almost. That's the way that it feels when I apply it to the face, and that's how it feels when I blend it out as well. But I really like that about this. It is definitely not comparable to the Hourglass foundation, for those of you who may have heard that it is. It's really not. And it says that it's got a natural filtered finish that lasts up to 10 hours. I would definitely agree. It's definitely got a very natural looking finish to the skin. It still gives a flawless filtered kind of look, but on the more natural side. And what I mean by that is that you can still see peaks of your skin through it, depending on how heavily you've gone in with the coverage, but it still makes you look like you've got a filter over your face, so it looks nice and smooth. I also like the fact, obviously, that I have got my sense of smell. She got rid of the smell, you guys. She finally listened to us and got rid of that hideously obnoxious granny smell, and I'm so happy about that, because who needed it really? Fragrance can irritate the skin, and it's not really necessary when it comes to base and foundation products. This weighs 12.5 grams and it was made in South Korea. She sometimes makes some of her makeup in the US, sometimes in Italy, sometimes in South Korea. It's all very all over the place, but whatever. So anyway, before we get on to the rest of the review, let me quickly just go on to, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to link for you guys in the info bar the actual shade comparison guide, which she has very helpfully put onto her website. It explains in great detail about the 9 new shades that have been added and why they were added as well. And she's even said over the last 2 years we've learned so much, and we've been able to dive even deeper into complexion, meaning that's the reason why there's been an addition of shades and a change of many shades as well. Now there are 4 undertones altogether. G, which is for golden, basically yellower and warmer tones. So all the foundations that you've seen me mention, like for example 320G, it means that my foundations have got a warmer golden yellowy undertone, because that is how my skin type is. There is B, which means beige, which is for pinker, more cooler tones. And there is N, which is neutral, a balance of golden and pink tones. And then there is R for red, which is warm tones for richer skin tone. And then it is split into fair, light, light medium, medium, medium tan, tan, deep tan, and rich. So there is quite a few shades for every single area. There's about 5 or 6 within each category. Now I have kind of veered in between the shades medium tan as well as medium, but I would definitely say now, I should know better by now, that I'm more in the light medium range these days. Now what I did was, for example, Tres Leches, which is 320G, it says it's for medium skin tones with peachy gold undertone. Now what I should have probably done was gone for that same description, but in the light medium, for example, maybe cheesecake, I don't know. And then Baklava 340G is medium skin tones with a neutral golden undertone. Now for me, Baklava always came up a little bit warm. But if, for example, I have a tan, it would be perfect on me. Baklava was the shade that I used when I was NC40 in MAC. Now in MAC, I have no idea what I am. And then if you scroll deeper, it goes down and it mentions one important thing to note when comparing Faux Filter liquid foundation and the Faux Filter stick foundation is that the liquid can take a little time to develop to its true shade. As the stick is anhydrous, in brackets contains no water, the swatched shade is a true shade. Therefore, it will not change. This means it's important to give time for the Faux Filter liquid foundation to develop before truly comparing the shades. Also note that Faux Filter liquid foundation has a powdery matte finish that will appear slightly lighter than the anhydrous Faux Filter foundation stick, which has a bright luminous finish. So that's just something to bear in mind if you are still interested in getting this, and if you already have this, and how it compares to the quality and the texture and the way that it performs. Then it's got a whole list saying your Faux Filter foundation shade is, and then it says next to it your new Faux Filter skin finish shade is. And then it gives you a comparison and a breakdown in how the shades have changed. So let's go to my shade Baklava. Now in the original shade, this one here in Baklava, it says that my match is now Tres Leches, and that's why I bought it. It says our new Baklava shade is more golden. So if the original Baklava shade wasn't warm enough for you, this might be your new bestie. If the original Baklava was your match, then try Tres Leches. And that's what I went and did, forgetting that I'm lighter. And then if you go to Tres Leches itself, it says this shade is exactly the same as the original. So basically what they are saying is that the original Tres Leches should match the new stick one. I don't have that one, so I can't compare it. I'll just show you what I've got. It's all quite confusing, but you do have to definitely go through all of them. So remember, bear that in mind. Whatever you probably were in this, you will not be in this. So now let's get started with swatching all of these on my face. The first one I'm going to show you guys is obviously Baklava, and I'm going to swatch it here because remember, when it comes to foundations, you should match your neck. In the most cases, if you've got a deeper forehead, this obviously doesn't apply, and it can happen, unfortunately. See, as you can see, it looks like a brown stain on my face. And now Tres Leches, I'm going to swipe right next to it. Okay, so here you can see Baklava, and here you can see Tres Leches. As you can see, this one is definitely too warm for my skin tone, and because they've made it more golden as well, that means that it's going to be even darker than it initially was for me, and it also looks a little bit green on me. I think this is one that would work more for somebody who's got more olive undertones, because that's the reason why on my more yellowy skin tone it's showing up with like a hint of green. And then you've got here, which is Tres Leches. As you can see, in terms of it blending into my neck is definitely a shade lighter. However, bear in mind that I've gone in with a very thick swatch. It's not blended out. Once it's blended out, it doesn't look so bad. Unfortunately, with this foundation, it is one that I'm gonna have to make work. So there's nothing I can do about that. The shade ranges have changed so much that it's actually become quite difficult. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna quickly take Baklava, which is the liquid one, and put that next to this. So let's put it here, because they said that the original Baklava shade should match Tres Leches, apparently. Now, let's leave that to kind of oxidize for a second. And now I'm going to take the shade Dulce de Leche, which is the 350G, next to the Baklava here. Whoa. Believe it or not, that's too dark for my skin. I know. See what I mean? Like when you look at it right now, when it's still wet, it's like, whoa, that's quite like quite light, very yellow, but still it is too dark for me. They've actually written against the original Dulce de Leche shade, they've written that the new shade is Butter Pecan N, so neutral. So it says our new Dulce de Leche shade is more golden, ideal if the original was too neutral for you. This was never neutral. And try Butter Pecan 330N, which is more similar to the original. Alright, I would say it's been long enough to determine whether or not they've oxidized or not. This one here, Baklava, has definitely got darker. And is it the same as Tres Leches? I would say, I'm looking sideways, not exactly easy. I would actually say, just from looking in the mirror, because I can see it up close, that the Baklava shade is actually a little bit more yellow than Tres Leches. It is definitely. It is not an exact dupe, so I don't know why they've written that as like a comparison shade. It's not exactly the same. You guys can see, what I'll do is I will zoom in so you guys can see it properly, how the colours work with each other. And this one has slightly deepened, but not that much. So just to recap, this is the original Dulce de Leche. This is the new stick foundation Baklava, the stick foundation in Tres Leches, and then the original liquid foundation in the shade Baklava. So that's just so you guys can see how they all look with each other. So I'm going to be using the Morphe M439 Deluxe Buffer Brush on my face to blend it in. It blends in so quickly, so easily, so seamlessly. There's no dragging, there's no snagging, there's no patchiness, there's no clinging to any dry spots. I've got eczema on my face, it doesn't cling to anything. It blends out super easily and it's nice and even, and all of a sudden my skin looks a lot more even with a little bit more coverage. So this is just what one layer looks like. You can still see my beauty spot, you can still see some of my scarring, my acne blemishes and that sort of thing. You can still see a little bit of my eczema around my chin, but remember this has got a light to medium buildable coverage, so all you need to do is go in with a little bit extra depending on how much coverage you actually want. For those people that like quite a soft, simple coverage because you got perfect skin, hate you, you really don't need to put on a lot at all. And another way that they've suggested is to actually directly apply it to your brush, and then you get a little bit more coverage in those areas where you need a little bit more coverage, and mine obviously being my areas where I've got pigmentation and that sort of thing. So I'm going to do the same on the other side just to add a little bit more. But generally this is a really great kind of everyday sort of foundation, like a work one, a school college one, where you want something quite undetectable, because that's definitely what I get with this foundation. I get undetectable. And now if you look at the match between my neck and the foundation itself, it's not too bad. I can pass. And especially if I set it with my usual banana powders, which is a little bit lighter, all of a sudden my foundation gets a little bit lighter and it's perfectly fine. Personally, I would say you do have to set it, and we will get onto that in a minute. So I'm just going to finish off the rest of my makeup, and then I will come back and we can finish off this review. Okay, so I am back and the rest of my makeup is all lovely and complete. As you can see, it looks absolutely lovely. I've managed to make it work. But let's be honest, the shade Tres Leches was generally just a tiny bit warm for me, not too much. But I would be interested to hear, for those of you who are on the light medium end, what shade maybe would go. Is it cheesecake? Is it cheesecake? I don't know. Because let's be honest, £32, again, don't know about that. I've already spent £64, so I bought mine, FYI, from Feel Unique, where they've got an excellent loyalty program. The more money you spend, the more money you get off. Plus, I have Huda Beauty listed as my brand for life, so no matter what I purchase, I always get a standard 10% off. So I've set it all and it looks absolutely lovely. Now I just want to give you a quick roundup of the review, what my thoughts are after using this in all conditions. So naturally filtered finish, what do you guys think? I think it looks absolutely lovely. I think that it looks definitely a lot more natural than the liquid version, which is very, very full coverage to the point where it almost looks fake on your face. And it says that it's got a versatile formula, so whether or not you prefer full coverage or light, you can achieve that with this, which I again 100% agree with and really do appreciate. The more you apply, the more cakey you do not look, as it is with this foundation. So you can go all out if you want, or just go for barely there. So long wearing, it says, well, it's not long wearing, it lasts up to 10 hours, and I have to agree with that claim. I personally got to about hour 6, I'd say, before I saw the product breaking up around my nose, my forehead and my chin, which is my classic area where foundations tend to break down. Those of you that don't know, I've got normal to combination skin, so my T-zone tends to get oily first. Bear in mind, this did happen when I used no primer and I used no powder as well. If I used powder, it would probably help a little bit more, but in terms of doing a proper and honest review, I wanted to tell you guys what it was like without using powder and just the product itself. Yesterday I went out with some friends, and when we left at the 10 p.m. curfew time, that as it is in the UK at the moment, the torrential rain came, the heavens opened, and we got soaked. Okay, by the time I actually got to my car, I'd been wearing a faux fur black coat. I'd noticed that the foundation had rubbed off wet onto my coat. Huda, you owe me a dry cleaning bill. And I noticed streak marks on my face as well. And also when I had been sat inside outside, they had like heaters on. The more and more I was getting hot, the more sweaty I was getting, and I was noticing that the product was breaking down even quicker than it should have. So in terms of it being long wearing, it's a no. Waterproof, no. Humidity proof, no. Sweat resistant, no. Then they've also said that it is non-transferable as well, which is another thing that Huda has mentioned herself. And yes, it does transfer, and I will give you an example. Who recognizes this? This was a clean, brand new mask when I left my office. I wore it in store for 5 minutes. I was only in store for 5 minutes. When I grab lunch, I'm not really in there for ages. I'm literally grabbing my food and I go. Look at all that product on there, and that is from 5 minutes worth of wear. It has rubbed off all around. Yeah, there's a bit of lipstick there, and obviously that's where the nose sits, and there's a bit of lipstick. But generally you can see the product has rubbed off, and that is after only 5 minutes of wear. Can you imagine if somebody wore this mask with this foundation for longer than 5 minutes, which is easily possible because 5 minutes is nothing. So in terms of it being non-transferable, it really does come off, and it comes off quick and it comes off fast. Another thing is the way that it sits on the face. I absolutely love the way it sits on the face. If you guys remember when I did my review of this, as somebody with textured skin, it emphasized the texture. It did not hide it. It did not give like a soft focus finish. Whereas this completely blends in the texture. It really gives a nice natural look to the skin. It does not emphasize my texture, and I love that about this. I'm going to have to give this a 7 out of 10. But in all honesty, I definitely prefer this a whole load more than I do this one. If you are on the market for a new foundation and you're interested in Huda Beauty and now you've got a choice of two, I would definitely go for this. It feels lovely and soft on the skin, but that's only because I've set it with powder. When I have not, it has got a slight tacky feel to it. It is not matte by any means. It's definitely got more of a kind of a satiny natural sort of finish, so it definitely looks like your skin but better. So that's it for my review of the brand new Huda Beauty Faux Filter foundation stick. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you've got any comments or questions about this foundation, feel free to ask me below in case I've forgotten or missed anything off. Other than that, I hope you guys are wonderful. I hope you're great. I hope you're healthy and not like me. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.